Well, I expect to continue to provide advice whenever the president would like advice.
I hope so.
I mean, I expect to remain a friend and an advisor, and certainly if there's anything the president wants me to do, I'm at the president's service.
Mr. Musk.
Listening to the U.S. President Donald Trump, as well as Elon Musk, who is leaving as his role as a special government employee for the controversial Department of Government Efficiency, and saying, we heard Donald Trump there thanking Elon Musk for doing the work in cutting many government jobs and services, excuse me, and saying that the U.S. is the hottest country in the world right now, and also applauding the decision by an appeal court to allow for the tariffs on much of the world to stay in place, following a lower court saying that the tariffs, many of the tariffs that Donald Trump has imposed on the world, are illegal. The CBC's Aaron Collins has been following the story from Washington. He joins me now. So, Aaron, just your takeaway there.
Well, Andrew, I mean, look, they covered a lot of ground there, so it's hard to know where to start. But if we sort of stick to the topic of the day, which was the end of Elon Musk's employment, essentially, as the head of Doge. This struck me a little bit like watching, a big band that was playing their last show together. You saw them, playing all the greatest hits. They're talking about transgender ideology and the economy and waste and the greatest military and, speaking about the beauty of the Oval Office. You had Elon Musk in his sort of dark MAGA outfit and the president perched behind the desk. It really felt like they were trying to revisit the old times, right? But this is a relationship that's not where it was, right? When Elon Musk was signing a lot of checks to help get the president elected. And when the beginning of this, you heard the president sort of throwing out random numbers, $1 million here, $100 million there. I mean, we don't have time to fact check these things in real time. But what we do know is that the initial promise here from Elon Musk was initially $2 trillion in cuts. That went down to $1 million in cuts. On the Doge website, I just checked, it's trillion. It's $175 billion in actual cuts. So way, way less. And then you heard Elon Musk there use the number $160 billion. So this is an initiative that's dramatically underperformed, I think, by any metric. And, in the meantime, Elon Musk has been the target of attacks from protesters. He hasn't been a popular figure. I don't think he's been great for this president. Public opinion polls would tell you that he's probably the least popular part of this administration. So, in a lot of ways, it was time for him to go. And on top of that, his businesses probably need him at the helm and not dabbling in government administration. So you add it all up, and it did feel like sort of an awkward breakup. They're trying to leave on good terms. You heard both the president and Elon Musk say that, hey, these amounts of savings, they're not where we wanted them, but they're going to go up. They're going to keep growing over time. And I guess only time will tell. They certainly haven't delivered what they promised initially.
Aaron, thank you. The CBC's Aaron Collins. So for more on this, we've reached Chris Galdieri. He is a professor of political science at St. Anselm College, and he joins us from Concord, New Hampshire. Chris, nice to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Glad to be here, Andrew. Thank you.
So what stood out to you in terms of the optics of it? Is this sort of a bad breakup? And what did Doge accomplish or not accomplish?
Sure. In terms of the optics, I think this is exactly that. It is a breakup. They're putting a good face on it, I guess, for the sake of the children or the country, as it were. But this is clearly an initiative that did not deliver on what was promised. The cuts have been far smaller than were promised, and the cuts that were made were very haphazard, very chaotic. Think back to January and February, how many times we would hear that thousands of employees from this or that government agency had been fired or let go, only to get calls the next week asking them to come back to the office because it turned out their jobs were important. I think what we've seen here is what happens when you have folks who think that the work of government is fundamentally not important, is fundamentally not serious, is inherently inefficient, encountering the reality that agencies like the Social Security Administration are actually run pretty well. Agencies like the Veterans Affairs Administration are by no means perfect, but tend to do their jobs pretty well and are full of people who want to do good jobs in service of the public interest.
Do you think Doge is going to continue, or was this just some nice words from the U.S. president as the midterms get closer? Is this kind of just going to go away?
My guess is that it is going to recede into the background without somebody like Musk, who's such a visible figure, heading it up. There's, note that there's been no real announcement of a replacement, and any replacement wouldn't have the public profile of Musk, who is, among other things, the richest person in the world. There's been no new successor. There's no announcement of who's taking the reins or anything like that. So my guess is that while something called Doge might continue to exist in some form, I don't think it will have the same sort of scope and influence that it's had in the first months of the second Trump administration.
He may be the richest person in the world, but Elon Musk, not very popular. What's your sense of that?
Yeah, that's correct. Musk is a very unusual character. He has alienated a lot of his core customers. If you think back to, Tesla, those are electric cars. Most of the folks who bought Teslas and own Teslas are probably folks who tended to vote for folks like Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the last few elections. Those folks are very angry with Musk for his role in the Trump administration. So I think, he's going back to a business empire that is not what it was. I think Tesla has a lot of public relations work to do. I think, he's taken blows overseas in countries that have been hurt by some of these cuts to, for instance, U.S. foreign aid programs. So I think, Musk has really got to either focus on his business empire or figure out a new way to approach politics, because what he's done there has not been working for him.
Can I ask you on another topic that Trump brought up, and that is tariffs, saying that he is happy that his tariffs will be able to stay in place following this lower court that said that they were illegal in this appeal process, that they can stay in place. Where do you make of where that is all going?
Well, I think what we're going to see is an appeals hearing to determine the merits of the case for and against these tariffs. I think, what we've seen is that the tariffs are very unpopular. The courts, as much as we'd like to think, they are not considering things like their impact on the economy and are going to rule strictly on the black letter of the law. I think they are going to be extremely reluctant to uphold these. That lower court decision was a panel that involved a Reagan judge, an Obama judge, and a Trump judge, I believe. So it's not exactly like he drew a panel of very liberal anti-Trump judges. These are folks who come from a variety of backgrounds and thought that the law does not support Trump's argument for these. So I think, right now the whole trade war is sort of hanging by a thread. And I think it's anybody's guess what will happen if the appeals court ultimately winds up ruling against it.
Chris, good to see you. Thank you. Chris Galdieri, professor of political science at St. Anselm College.